Alright. Screens. General Anakin Skywalker. Hello, hello. That makes more sense. I had no clue who that was for a second. How you doing? Mixed bag? Yeah, I'm doing alright. Busy week at work this week, but in the weekend now, so chilling. Had a bunch of admin stuff I needed to catch up on this week, so it's been a lot of late nights going through receipts and shit. But yeah, it's the weekend, so we're chilling. Just doing some grinding as per usual. I'm really trying to get this Charizard egg ASAP so I can go back to like actually shiny hunting. Good to see me. Yeah, I've been considering streaming a bit. I felt like streaming for a little bit, but then like some of the people I've enjoyed watching on YouTube have been streaming, and it's kind of motivated me to go live here and there myself. Maybe just like a weekend thing at the minute. I think it's a bit too much of a commitment to stream during the week. Some days I finish work at like 4:30 and it's fine, and then some days I'll finish at 6:30, so it just depends. It's hard to like pin down an actual day to go live in the week. You know, it's good this game. Best of luck, IV grind. You've been trying to hatch shiny bag on an emerald yourself. Well, it's funny you mention that, Duskan. Because that was the last target for this. It's a valiant quest you've set out on. I need to fix the moveset still, but you get the idea. You saw the vid? Nice. Are you going for anything special with your Bagon? Like egg move wise? Are you going to do special attacking or are you going to do physical? I feel like you kind of have to make that choice, right? Between Dragon Dance or Hydro Pump. Oh. I have not hatched the egg yet. I took off the second counters. I had a separate counter that used to count, like, number of eggs collected. But since I'm no longer doing batches of 5, I got rid of it. But I feel like I should put it back because it's actually annoying. I keep, like, going to release eggs when I don't, like, have anything hatched yet. And I keep trying to pick up eggs when I already have the full party. I feel like I underestimated how nice the second counter is. Yo, it's good, Jose. Am I right in saying that you got your gold in the factory finally? I feel like I saw that in one of the chats. I'm getting mixed up or not though. You got Dragon Dance and Dragon Rage mainly? Dragon Rage? Do you mean Outrage, Duskan? Want it for... Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, it's probably Outrage, right? Want it for Gen 4 tower stuff? You prefer to get mons in Gen 3 if you can? I'm not sure how IV breeding compares in Gen 3 versus Gen 4. You can use the power items, right, in Gen 4 to pass a specific IV down, from what I understand. I know Nighthawk released a video about doing some Gen 4 stuff recently, and he was saying that you don't have to use Ditto with the right nature in Gen 4, because you can put the Everstone on the other parent, which is quite interesting. I've never bred in Gen 4 before, so I didn't even know there was a difference like that. I know about the power items, but not the Everstone thing. Yeah, Outrage gets a big buff in Gen 4. It's kind of cheeks in Gen 3, to be honest. 10 extra power to lock yourself in and then make yourself confused eventually isn't really worth it. But in Gen 4, obviously, I think it's 120 base in Gen 4, right? I got a pretty good Ditto earlier as well. It's not what I was looking for, but it's pretty decent still. Once I'm at this battle, I'll show it. So I was doing Adamant Synchronize, and I didn't get Adamant, I got Careful, which isn't as useful for as many Pokemon. There are some Pokemon that would probably like a Careful nature. So Snorlax, when I did that, for example, was Careful. But I feel Adamant's probably better for most physical attackers, but it's got perfect special defense, perfect speed and 30 attack IVs. So it's a pretty solid Ditto. But just not quite what I was going for. So we will keep going, but... Another one to add to the collection. What is that emote, Navarre? YouTube's finest emotes. It's just Dragon Rage. I didn't even know that it got Dragon Rage as an egg move, I'm gonna be honest. Not for any special reason, it was just already on the Dragonair parent. It will make EV training easier, you guess. Yeah, I suppose for killing like low level Pokemon, right, you can probably just spam it. It's Outrage! I'm trying to remember now if Outrage is an egg move. I feel like I might be mixing that up with Larvitar, and it's an egg move on Larvitar, but a level up move for Salamence, right? To be fair, as much as I do trash the YouTube emotes, I think some of the Twitch ones are just a little bit too dank. When you get like the ultra wide, super massive emotes and stuff, and you can't actually see anything anymore. What are you on about, Navarro? I heard the Gen 4 tower's really hard. I can't remember if it was the factory or the tower. I think they're both hard, right? I think a lot of the Pokemon get like way more coverage moves than they normally get. I've never played the Gen 4 tower, because I don't play Gen 4, but... Could maybe be interesting to clone the team and send them up into, like, Gen 4 to do the tower as well at some point. I would never, like, actually transfer them out of Gen 3 entirely, but... Salamence doesn't get Outrage. Really? Even in Gen 4, or you're not by Egg Move? Yeah, well, I could have sworn it gets Outrage, right? Maybe just not as... I don't know, you might be on about Egg Move. Probably are. Don't know. Does it not get Outrage at all? Wow, it actually doesn't. Does it get Outrage in Gen 4? Right, Gen... Diamond Pearl Pokédex. Salamence. I swear this thing has it in Gen 4, right? Dragon Claw? Does it really not have... Draco Meteor? Okay, it does. It gets Outrage in Gen 4 from Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver Move Tutor. Okay. Interesting. I don't know why I had it in my head it gets Outrage in Gen 3, but... I think that's because Akoth put it on his graphic for, Gen 3 by accident. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Wow, I'm running out of eggs. What's the rest of the team gonna be this game? Salamence and what? Gengar and Shiny Absol Ribbon Master. Is that a Colosseum Absol Duskane, or is that the Tall Grass Absol? Or is it like a Gem 4 onwards Ribbon Master? Colosseum. Oh, nice, you'll have literally all of them then. Have you uploaded that anywhere? Do you have it on video, Duskane? Okay, that makes more sense. Why? I feel like Colosseum's quite a small community. I feel like I would have seen it if there was a video on it. It's pretty cool though, man. Fair play. Absol's one of those Pokemon that just gets completely boned in Gen 3 with move ball wires. And then you're relying on what? Like Return. Maybe a Hidden Power if you've got a decent one. Shadow Ball, Return, Swords Dance, and something else probably. It's pretty poor move ball wires. Obviously in Gen 4 it gets Night Slash, which probably makes it a lot better. Does he get Sucker Punch as well, or am I making that up? Yeah, I'd say Sneasel's a little bit... I don't know actually, maybe Sneasel's quite comparable. Sneasel's probably better than Absol, because Absol's not even really that fast in Gen 3. At least Sneasel's fast so you can like hit something before you die. Gengar, Absol, Salamence. Trying to think what that struggles against. What set are you going to run on Salamence? Are you running... I can't remember what you said. You're doing physical, right? Like Dragon Dance. What nature are you going for? Are you doing Adamant or... I don't know if Jolly gets used in Gen 4 or not. I hatched a shiny Sneasel in Gen 3, and I played through the game with that and a bunch of baby Pokemon, and its move ball is just so terrible. Like, it's alright for playing through the game, like, casually, just because it gets a lot of TMs. But yeah, it's pretty trash not having stab that you can actually use. We're almost at the end of this patch of Dittos as well. should be the last one. There we go, 3,000. I wonder how many shiny Dittos I'll get before I get my 3 IV Adamant one. The odds are pretty stacked for a few shiny Dittos first. Not that. I mean, that's 2 IV, but am I ever going to use a Quiet Nature for anything? Can I really be bothered to set it all up again for 2 IV? I'll mark it and see how I feel by the time I get to the end of checking this. It's 43... I can't remember if it's 42 or 43 where it can be 31 and 30. That might not even... It might not even be 2 either, to be honest. I'll have to keep going. Might loop back around on that one. Jolly, just DD, EQ, Dragon Claw, not sure on last move. I mean, are you going to take it through in Gen 3 as well, I assume, right? Then if you've got your Absols from Colosseum, I assume you're doing all the ribbons first in Gen 3 before you migrate them up. Seems like a bit of or is that the Gen 4 set? It's a bit of a weird mixture of moves if you're going Jolly, D-Claw. Moves the Dittos are not looking good. Yep. Now the question is, do I want to check this one? I need to check if that's 30 or 31 at that level. Let's get the IV calc. Ditto. Level 43 and 64 special attack, 59 for the Quiet Nature. Yeah, so it's 30 or 31 at that level, so let's level it up and even see if it's 2 IV first. There we go. I think I need level I don't know what level I need to know if that's +2, +1. Nope, still don't know at that level. 68, 62. Yeah, okay, so it's perfect special attack, perfect special defense, quiet. What Pokemon would I even use quiet on? Do I need quiet for anything? What's a slow special attacker in Gen 3? Like a Claydol maybe or something? I feel like quiet, surely I'm not gonna need quiet nature for anything. Let me go and search by slow Gen 3 Pokemon in Cerebi quickly. I've got a feeling I'm just gonna be resetting here and not keeping this. I feel like most Pokemon that are slow are physical attackers. No, none of those are gonna be special. Thing is, it would have to be something that you wouldn't want to get rid of attack on that's slow as well. There's very few Pokemon that would use Quiet Nature over anything else. It would have to be like a slow mixed attacker, basically. Maybe like a Camerupt or a Torkoal? Probably not. I'm just gonna reset under the assumption that I will never need a Quiet Nature ever. And surely that will not bite me in the ass. I'm not seeing anything, just scrolling through and looking. What about like a grass type? Maybe like a Venusaur or something. Let me search Venusaur. I feel like Venusaur's not even that slow though, isn't it like base 80 or something? Yeah, literally base 80. Yeah, none of the sets use Quiet. I feel like Quiet is just a bad nature. Maybe like a Walrein, but surely you'd build a Walrein bulky and defensive. Maybe like a Slowbro, maybe. I feel like that's a very limited like range of Pokemon though. It's probably like Claydol, Slowbro. I mean, even with Slowbro, you'd probably just run a minus attack nature. Yeah, I'm kind of selling myself on this being bad. What about Swampert? Does Swampert ever run Quiet? Relaxed, bold, rash, timid. No. Okay, I'm resetting. I'm assuming this is a useless nature. Let's just keep going. Absol's still in Gen 3. You want to get the Ments before you continue / start. Gen 3 moveset will probably just be Aerial Ace, EQ, Rock Slide, DD. Yeah, that's like the absolute standard coverage this game. I used that when I was doing my first Ribbon Master. I only do them in Gen 3 though, because I don't really care about the other gens personally. But it's pretty good. You cover a lot of Pokemon with that. Alright. How are you doing, Hello? And Vreeze as well, welcome in. A Regice would use Quiet, but that makes Ditto even more unnecessary. Yeah, I don't think Quiet's a very good nature. I've just pretty much searched the whole Pokedex, and there's very few Pokemon that I would use that for, and the ones that you would use it for, I wouldn't use anyway. Pretty much everything that wants Quiet would rather just run, like, minus attack. I watched some of your absolute cursed sets earlier, Vreeze. What were you cooking with that Sneasel, brother? That was one of the sets of all time. I like how in the intro as well you were like, oh yeah, like I wouldn't use 3, like sun, or like 3 weather moves, I'd put an attack on it, and then you literally use 3 weather moves. And I such a cursed set. Unbelievable. I feel like Hail is kind of bad, no? Like, compared to Rain and Sun. I feel like Hail is pretty rubbish. Maybe that's just me hating, but... Yo, it's good, Riley, Joplin. Howdy, howdy. How you fellas doing today? Yeah, I would definitely drop Hail Vreeze. It's a rubbish move. Just brings 0 benefit, pretty much. Unless you wanted to clear, like, Sand, but again, like, T-Tar's on, like, 1 in every million teams. It's really not that common of a Pokemon. I'm pretty sure T-Tar's not even in the level 50 as well. I think it's only in level 100, right? Oh wow, I am like out of eggs. I need to wake up. How makes Blizzard 100% accurate? Get some chip. Yeah. Whether or not that's worth a whole move / a whole like turn, I don't know. Yo, what's good, Ryan? Is Shiny Charmander gonna be 5 IV? Well, it's gonna be 5 IV first, Ryan. So I'm hunting a 5 IV egg. And then that egg I will then Shiny hunt afterwards. So eventually the aim is, yes, it will be a 5 IV Shiny, but we've got to get the 5 IV before we can hunt it. And I'm very keen to get back to the actual hunting, so I'm kind of grinding the eggs at the minute really hard. I would very much like to get this one set up so I can get back to hatching my other eggs as well. I'm glad you said that, Vreeze, because I thought I was just missing something for a second, because in my head I was like, damn, I didn't think Hail did that. Which makes sense if it's only Gen 4, because I don't play Gen 4. But I didn't say anything, because I also never knew that Sand makes Solar Beam half in power in Gen 3. And I thought maybe this was just me not knowing about weather, because I never use weather in any of my games ever. You're currently on a 15-round win streak with Persian instead of Sneasel using this set where you replace Hail with Double Edge. Surely Persian is just like a hard upgrade to Sneasel, right? Bulkier, Stab Double Edge probably does about twice the damage. Actually, it's probably like 1 point. I don't know what Persian's attack stat is, actually. Is Persian bad, or is Persian, like, usable? I feel like that's one of those Pokemon that I just never even think about, ever. I did think that, Riley, because I was trying to see what time you went live, because I was going to go live, like, earlier before you went live, and then, like, end whenever you went live, and I was trying to look what time it was, because I know you go live earlier on the Saturdays, but I couldn't see the, schedule, so I just winged it. Yeah, exactly, Turbo. Gotta get the 5 IV egg first, and then I'll be trading it into Ruby and Sapphire to hatch it. And just restarting the thing over and over and over again. No, it's fine, Riley. I want to watch the stream anyway, so whenever you go live, I'll just drop off and I'll send them all your way. I was just bored because Speed's normally in VC with me, but I think he's asleep right now. So, because he stayed up till like 4 AM watching wrestling. And I'm pretty sure he fell asleep in the VC. Either that or he's got a barbecue or something, I can't remember. So I'm just trying to pass some time. You forgot about it lowering solar beam damage, but then you're clicking it in sand. Yeah, I don't think solar beam's very good anyway, to be honest with you. Unless you're in a dedicated sun team, it's kind of rubbish. Persian is just bad. 70 base attack. 70. I wonder why I never think about that Pokemon. Yeah, 70's kind of bad. I can't lie. I feel like normal is a decent type though, just because normal gets a lot of powerful moves for stab, so yeah, it does kind of bring it back a bit, but I'd imagine Persian's pretty frail as well, so it's probably not really doing a whole lot. Gonna get the high win streak today. You even got a new gift made for good luck. Where did you end off at, Riley? I can't remember. I think because I know you stream in you streamed on Thursday, right? But it was quite late for me, so I tend to watch like the first half, like at my computer, and then when I get tired, I kind of just let it play on my phone while I'm in bed, so at some point I just end up falling asleep in the streaks. It's like, if you ever noticed that I just stopped chatting like halfway through the stream, it's probably because I fell asleep. I'd imagine you're at like 40 something, right? Like 42 or 49 or something. Oh yeah, I'll help you get that set up, Riley. It's a program made by Shiny Hunter. It was the same guy that helped me set up the Ace Hunt for Latios. His name's Lemon. He made the auto counter. I've got like an old version of it, but there's like more modern versions that count like average rate of encounters and things like that. And it reads, you can click like an OBS virtual camera button in the software, and it reads from the virtual camera on the screen. So you can put like other tabs over the top of the screen and stuff, and it doesn't like break the counter. It's really, really, really good software. And then it just reads to like, it exports it as an a text file, sorry. And then you put the text file in as a counter in OBS and it reads from that text file. It's really, really, really useful. Even better is like when you have the double counter set up. So I used to do, when I was like fully single hunting this and like actually locked in, I had one counter that would count like eggs that I'd collected. I had one counter that would count eggs that I've hatched. And I had one counter that would add 5, so like the number would be the same whenever I saved the game to make sure I'd like save my batch of eggs. And that was like unreal, because you don't even have to use your brain at all. You just look at the numbers, and if the numbers are like where they should be, you know it's working. And you know you don't have to pick up new eggs or like release anything, things like that. This community's so cool. You've met very chill and cool people. Yeah, I think the recent communities I've joined, Jose, have been really good. I really like the little Gen 3 community that's going on. Agreed. I'll have to show you how to set up the auto counter though, Riley, because the software's a bit, it's a bit weird how it works, but once you've got the hang of it, you'll be able to use it fine. It's the new Saturday morning cartoons, true. To be fair, I'd stream a bit earlier in the day, but I know there's a lot of Americans. So I try and stream towards the afternoon just because there's quite a big time gap from us to all of NA. It's normally like 5-hour minimum. It's normally 5 to 7 hours-ish. So I try to go live like towards the afternoon, so it's everybody's morning and they're at least awake. If I stream at, say, like 11 AM my time, there's no one in America is going to be awake yet, pretty much. Yo, it's good, Cabbage. How you doing? Well, I know how you're doing because I've seen your Twitter. You're doing terrible, and Minetric is boning you from the looks of it. But what's new? Cabbage going over odds and end. You're in a decent spot where you're only 4 hours off, even the Tuesday streams aren't easy. I can normally catch the start of them, like your midweek ones, Riley, normally start at about 10 PM for me. So that's why I kind of fall off halfway through the stream, because I watch, say, the first hour of my computer, I'll watch until about 11 PM, and then I normally get in bed after that, and then I last until I end up falling asleep, essentially. You think in our community there are more Europeans than Americans? I don't know about that, Jose. You'd be surprised. I feel there's a lot of Americans just overall as a population of people who watch YouTube. Like, there definitely are a lot of Europeans as well, but I just think Nighthawk's community is probably a lot of Americans. Like, there are Europeans as well, and you see it in Riley's stream. There's a few people from the UK as well, other than me. For the most part, though, I think, at least for the shiny hunting side of stuff, most people are American, I would say. I don't know if it's the same for, like, the split of people who just watch Gen 3 content. Australia moment, yeah. Dusken, you're kind of in your own little pot there, to be honest. Nothing ever really works for Australia times. We used to have a guy that shiny hunted with us, and he was from New Zealand. And the time zones are just like complete flip, basically. I think he was like 11 or 13 hours away or something like that from our time zone ahead. So it's really hard to like ever VC with someone if they're from Australia or New Zealand. You pretty much only speak to each other at the weekend or really late at night. Your sleep schedule was messed up, so you could catch some of the midweek streams, but that probably will change and it'll be fall asleep stream. Where are you from, Vreeze? You sound maybe Dutch or something. Have I noticed that the sand in the cave doesn't leave a footprint behind? I have noticed that, but I can't tell you why that would be. Maybe they just didn't code it. I would assume this was just like a late addition afterwards in the game. Maybe it was just a detail they missed, Scorpio. You're happy that so many enjoy hanging out in the streams? Yeah, I like the community. It's really nice, Riley, and I just like watching the inevitable panic whenever something heinous pops up on your screen. Watching your little ragtag group trying to shit-injure their way through to 100 wins. You are indeed Dutch. There's quite a few Dutch people, Reese, that are Pokemon enjoyers or shiny hunters. I know quite a few Dutch shiny hunters. Wow, I am really not staying on top of these eggs at all. I need to lock in. Machamps showing up's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of matchups where it's just like if a Pokemon shows up, it's just pray. That's the whole strategy is just pray. Hariyama is the biggest, like, just pray you click the move that works Pokemon of all time. Like, you want to attack it, but then it lives too many seismic tosses and it can... I think it gets counter, right? It gets revenge, which doubles the power. It's got guts, but only half the time, so you've got another 50-50 of do I toxic it or do I just try and spam it down? It's just an absolute nightmare Pokemon. It's just so much HP you can't even like seismic toss it down reliably either. It's interesting because a lot of the Pokemon in the Battle Tower, I think it's common against both games to be honest, but quite a lot of the Pokemon don't have speed investment. Which means Pokemon that are slower, if you invest into their speed, they can actually outrun a surprising amount of Pokemon in the tower or in the facilities. But the flip side of that problem is it means they run weird splits where they run like 170 HP, 170 in an attacking stat, and then 170 in like a defense stat or something like that. And it makes it really hard to break Pokemon with, say, Seismic Toss. Because Pokemon that shouldn't have a lot of HP end up being HP invested in EVs, which makes it kind of awkward. It's kind of swings and roundabouts though, because it means you'll outrun a lot of stuff that you probably shouldn't as well. If they did like optimal EVs, I guess you could say. I definitely do enjoy it, Riley. I definitely do. Yeah, Zangoose is a bit of a weird speed tier, to be honest, Riley. It's not quite... Is it like 90, I think? It doesn't quite keep up with all the base 100s, which is where stuff starts getting actually fast. But if they run no speed investment and you run speed investment, you'll also outrun a lot of the base 100s, which is quite a nice bit to find yourself in, really. You've been looking at the spreads recently, and you also notice that they tend to lack speed. There's also only one max 130 Jolteon. Yeah, exactly, Vreeze. So, where I've got this is incredibly lucky and works out incredibly well. When I was doing my Timid Sync farming, I got this Ditto that's perfect special attack, perfect special defense, and 30 speed. And the max speed, I got this to hunt for a Starmie eventually as 5 IV, the same way I'm farming Ditto now. But because it's 30 speed, the max I can then hit with Starmie Timid is 360, which still outspeeds everything other than Jolteon 4. Which is incredibly lucky, because if that was 29, I'd then be speed tying all of the other Jolteon and Aerodactyls. So, I can use that as a pseudo 3 IV Ditto, basically, which is really convenient, because it saves me having to go and farm another 60,000 Dittos. That's the speed your Starmie has on the Persian team. Yeah, there's no... The downside is I lose 4 EVs, right? I could get 361 speed if I had a 31 IV and put that one stat point somewhere else. But for the amount of time investment it would take me to farm a 3 IV Ditto, I would never do that. I had this discussion with Riley and I was tempted to, but I think having farmed again for a 3 IV Ditto for Adamant this time, it's really not viable to just kind of pluck one of those out the air. So I think I will end up settling with 30 speed on my Starmie in the end. I really can't justify the effort of going through... Like, even this has been incredibly long, getting to this number of Dittos. Because I've done another 2,000 or so to get that Timid Ditto, so I'm probably at about... I think I was at like 2,400 or something for the Timid Ditto. So I've done about 5.4k, 5.5k Dittos, somewhere around there, and that's taken quite a significant time investment already. So I can't really justify trying to do another 60,000 just to get one extra stat point. We're 1 minute away from 1,000 hours. Yeah, unfortunately, Jose, your time's capped at 999.59. So both my games are just capped at max hours, basically. I've done a lot of egg hunting on these files, so they've been time capped for a very, very long time. Yeah, Vreeze, it's just hard to justify it to myself. For these ones where I can control the male and the female, it's more... I'm more willing to go the extra mile to get my extra points, because what I'm going for, I like the idea of having, like, a perfect Pokemon. I could have stopped. If you just want, like, a solid Pokemon, that doesn't really take that much time investment comparatively. Say you just want to get, like, a 4 IV and then something decent in the 5th stat, 20 plus. That's quite early into the process. The jump from getting 2 4 IV parents is a very small time investment compared to the amount of time it takes to go from 4 IV to 5 IV. So if you're just looking for something really solid, it's definitely not worth it, but my mental is I want the perfect ones, which is why I go the extra time to get those points, but I can't justify it for that timid one, considering that it doesn't change anything that I outrun. Maybe my outlook would be a bit different if I hit 359 speed instead with 30 speed, and then I'm speed tying a bunch of Jolteons and Aerodactyls. But I'm outrunning the exact same Pokemon, so all it's going to do is make my damage rolls 1 single point worse. It's really not justifiable to farm another Ditto for that, in my head. Well, that's the problem, Vreeze. It's not even always 3 IVs. It's only 3 IVs like 50-something% of the time. And even when you inherit those, you can obviously inherit the wrong ones. For example, if I'm trying to farm my Charizard now, I could end up inheriting attack from the parents, which is just irrelevant. And they can overwrite each other in Emerald, the, like, alternating picks of stats, so your odds are rubbish in Emerald, really. The only reason you do it in Emerald is because Everstone doesn't work in Ruby Sapphire. If Everstone worked in Ruby Sapphire, even with Flame Body, I think there'd be a debate about which one's better for doing eggs. Obviously, you'd have to test it and see what the time difference is, but without Everstone in Ruby Sapphire, it's not even really worth thinking about. There's 25 natures in the game. The odds you get the nature you want on the good IV roll is just irrelevant. No, Flame Body doesn't work this game in Ruby Sapphire. It only works in Emerald. Which again is very unfortunate for everybody. An underrated annoying thing about Ruby Sapphire as well is that the bike path got altered in Emerald. And it's actually very annoying in Ruby Sapphire compared to Emerald. Because the pond to the left of this guy was moved... It's 1 tile lower in the Ruby Sapphire tile set. So over here. The pond is where my character is now in Ruby Sapphire. So you can't cycle all the way straight in a line from Route 180 and all the way to Verdant Turf. You get stuck on the pond. Which I know isn't the most annoying thing when you think about it, but it's actually underrated convenience of Emerald. And I'm glad they changed that. You think they changed the fences where the flowers are? What are you on about? These ones? I know you can't cycle all the way across, which is just not the greatest game design. They obviously realised that it's inconvenient and moved it in Emerald, which is nice. It's the fence, not the pond. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I don't play Ruby Sapphire that much. I just remember doing... I can't remember what I was doing. When I was a kid, I think I was breeding Absol eggs or something like that. And you can't cycle the whole way across, but you can in Emerald, which is nice. I barely play Ruby Sapphire, to be honest. I did a DTQ, not a DTQ, a shiny badge quest in Sapphire, and then basically haven't touched the game ever since, to be honest with you. I think it's just kind of inferior Emerald in my head, so I don't really spend any time in it. I think Emerald's just a much cleaner experience. You've been meaning to check your Gen 7 cards for shinies. Turns out you have a shiny Chansey on US. I think shinies are cool, but I don't think I'd give any value to a shiny that isn't mine, personally. Or that I'm not personally connected to, I guess. Like, if I just find a shiny on a random card, that doesn't really mean anything to me. For me, it's the process of getting it that makes it enjoyable. Just doing RE hunting Ruby on the side of hunting Bagon. Yeah, I mean, that is the upside of Ruby Sapphire, is the fact the RNG isn't scuffed. It does help. Kind of make some of the hunts where you have to use battle recordings and Ace and other things to hunt them viable again. I just think the UI in Ruby Sapphire is just so ugly. Like, when you look at the stats of the Pokemon, that screen in Ruby Sapphire compared to Emerald is so just not appealing. Obviously there's some Pokemon in Ruby Sapphire as well that you can't get in Emerald. You did catch it yourself? It's just been a... See, you had a shiny chance that you just forgot existed. Unlucky. You had a feeling you had a shiny somewhere in the newer games? You may have just been from Horde training HP EVs. I mean, that would make sense. It happens when you're training in, like, newer games. I remember training for just levels in Black and White. The best way of doing it was killing Ordino in the Shaking Grass. And I got a shiny one in, I think, White 2 or Black 2, I can't remember which one I had. Ruby Sapphire UI is very messy, agreed. I finally went through the effort earlier of trading my pickup squad across to my Ditto farming Emerald, because before, sometimes when I needed to level up the Ditto, I'd have to go and do it manually. But I did a bit of pickup farming to get myself some rare candies just to make it a bit easier for myself. And I got a few PP ups while I was doing it as well, which is really nice. So I can use those on Salamence at some point. I mean, I can probably do it now, to be honest. I think there's some that I haven't boosted that I'll be keeping. One have I not boosted yet, I realise. I don't know why I've just done that, because I'm going to be resetting anyway, so that was just completely pointless, now that I think about it. You finished your chart of level 5 stats last night for each nature, you just need to finish the benchmarks for each nature now too. I mean, to be honest, Riley, the way I do the, like, benchmarks, I don't write out all the stats for all of the level ups for all of them. Eventually you learn, because it's the same Pokemon with the same base stats, right? The thing you need to keep in mind is what happens with a positive in a stat, what happens with a neutral, and what happens with a negative. And once you have that down, like, that will help you memorize, like, all of the natures at level 5 in your head without, like, having to keep looking at the chart. So, for example, I know that minus speed on every Charmander, if it's a minus speed nature with a max IV, it will be 11. So that applies to relaxed nature, that applies to quiet nature. So on the male side, if you just remember what happens when it's, like, positive and negative to a stat, it's a much easier way of remembering, kind of. The same for level ups as well. Like, once you've been doing it for a while, you remember what stats you're expecting on level up also. Like, nowadays, I'm so far into this Charmander hunt, I don't even need the stat sheets, like, anymore at all. Like, even leveling it up, I know where my stats need to be for it to work. If you just focus on, like, what the plus and the minus does, eventually you'll just be able to, like, memorize it all. I think rare candies are really good, Riley, for the first setup. I think once you've got the 2 4IV parents, I don't think I'd use rare candies past that point. Personally. I agree it's good for the early setup because the frames don't really matter yet. The odds are so good of getting those Pokemon upgrades, the like, old RNG isn't really a problem. I think when you're at the 5IV stage, it becomes much more of a concern, because your odds of getting a 5IV egg are so much lower comparatively. So if you keep resetting, the odds are you're going to be in that same initial run of frames if you have to keep resetting because you're checking with rare candies. Maybe that's just me being a bit too paranoid, but I think for the 5IV egg, that makes sense. For the 4 and lower, I agree. You can definitely just get away with just doing rare candies. I think the chart does help a lot. So I had a guy comment on the last stream and he was saying, how do you know, like, when you're checking your Charmanders, it takes you like 3 seconds. How do you know which ones the good IVs are? And it's just that once you've done it so many times, even if it's like different natures, you just know what the base stats should be at level 5 based on the nature. And if it's doing positive, negative, or just neutral. Potentially, yeah, anytime you're done with an egg session, you'll go lose around in the factory and re-record the battle video. I agree, Riley, in principle. But the thing is, right, say, at the 5IV stage, say you're doing your session, right, and you get a Cubone. Once you've done your rare candies, you're soft resetting to keep your rare candies. So, like, yes, you can then watch the battle video again and record a new one, but you'd have to do that over and over and over again, which is just kind of annoying. Like, you can do it like that, I think it's easier and less mental work has to go into just me flying and leveling them up manually. It probably is more efficient to do rare candies, but I'm just stuck in my ways. You do doubled and attack yourself? I just bring level 5 Pokemon, Riley. And they just one-shot you. Like, if you go in open level and bring a bunch of level 5s, you're like level 5s versus level 60s and they just whoop your ass. Am I full on eggs finally? I'm not. Maybe I'm missing out with the rare candies, maybe I should try that and figure it out. Because now I'm thinking about it more now you've said that. Say you, like, do a session, right? You watch your battle. I suppose you'd have to watch your battle video every time you soft reset the game as well, though, and you'd have to remember to keep doing that. Maybe it's still worth it. I don't know. Why the splash attack first? Because, Jake, it gives it the Ditto a chance to transform into Feebas. And because Feebas has a 255 catch rate, when it transforms, because I already have Ditto in my Pokedex, it makes the repeat ball 100% capture rate. So by using Splash, it buys the turn for it to transform. Whereas if I throw a repeat ball now, it can break out and it just wastes time. It's not 100% catch rate without it transforming. I'm really, really trying to get this Charmander now, though, because I really want to go back to shiny hunting the eggs. I want to get the team. I want to make progress towards actually hunting the team. But I started this side quest to make it more efficient when I'm actually hatching the eggs, so I can hatch 3 eggs per reset rather than 2. And I don't necessarily regret my choice, because I'm really hyped to get this Charizard, and I really want to use this. Oh, I'd honestly almost say I want to use this the most out of all of them now. I just think having a hidden power grass on it is going to be so cool, and I think the set idea is going to... It's complete gambling. The actual Team Joplin is Salamence, Snorlax, Curselax, and Milotic. That's the 3 that I started with, but now I'm also breeding the Zard, which is hidden power. It's going to be hidden power grass, Fire Blast. I was debating Dragon Claw and only running Fire Blast. But I think I'm going to miss the consistency of having the choice to also do Flamethrower. So I'll probably run Fire Blast and Flamethrower, and then Substitute as well. And the idea for the Zard is I'm going to use Substitute. It's Timid Zard, so it outruns everything other than the absolute max speed tiers. So you're talking like your Aerodactyls, your Jolteons. It outruns everything barring those. So it's going to Substitute down until it hits Blaze range, which is why I'm targeting 30 HP on it as well. Because at level 30 now, it will activate the sub with 25% HP left. So that'll put me in Blaze range, and it will activate my Pataya Berry. So I'll be getting Blaze boosted +1 fire moves, essentially. Which, Fire Blast at +1 Blaze basically kills a lot of Pokemon. Is the idea behind the set. And then HP Grass is just perfect coverage to wipe out Swampert and Quagsire and Whiscash and all your other nasties that would just completely wall it otherwise. And with the +1, it actually OHKOs every Swampert. Assuming I get the max base power hidden power grass. So I really, really, really want to use this in the battle tower, even though it's gambling. It's completely gambling, though, because there'll be some Pokemon where Flamethrower probably won't guarantee the kill, but Fire Blast will. And I'm assuming my sub is just going to get perpetually broken unless I'm fighting something that's trying to paralyze me or set up on me. So it's going to be interesting playing the odds of when do I click Fire Blast versus when do I click Flamethrower. Like, do I want guaranteed damage or do I want a potential OHKO? So it's going to be a complete gambling set, which I've accepted, but I think it'll be incredibly fun once it's set up. I think if you wanted to do, like, the optimal set for this, what you'd really do is you'd probably do it with Blaziken instead, and you'd do the 1 HP subs instead, so get your, like, odd HPs to get you down to 1 HP with your 4th substitute, and then you'd run Salak Berry with Reversal and, like, Fire Blast or Reversal Flamethrower or something. Or maybe even, like, Overheat, like Blaze Overheat with 200 base power Reversal in the back. Which I think would probably technically be better, but there's also kind of... Blaziken's a bit of a weird speed tier where it's not... You can't run Pataya. You'd have to run Salak if you want to outrun everything. So there is a bit of a trade-off with that, whereas Timid Zard outspeeds the vast majority of Pokemon in the tower. Obviously, you're kind of at the mercy of Quick Claw Pokemon as well, which is just kind of always the case, but the flip side of that is sometimes they might Quick Claw you and you might get a slow substitute up, depending on how much they do to you. So you could actually end up getting Quick Clawed and end up behind a substitute, which could potentially be helpful. But there's probably most Pokemon are going to be doing a lot of damage to Charizard, so I don't imagine that would be in your favour most of the time. You'd probably just end up failing your substitute. But who doesn't love a gambling set in the Battle Tower where you need consistency more than everything? Yeah, I know Vreeze, which is why I'm going to run Fire Blast plus Flamethrower. Because I really wanted to run... Initially, my idea for the set was Fire Blast, Dragon Claw, HP Grass sub. But I think I'm going to have to drop D-Claw for the just consistency of Flamethrower. Because there will be a lot of Pokemon that I can OHKO with Flamethrower and Blaze Boost +1. So I think it's just too risky to run Fire Blast and miss against those Pokemon where I could otherwise just guarantee a one-hit KO. It would be nice to be able to pack the Dragon Claw on there as well, but it is what it is. Yeah, Charizard's just another one Joplin for, it's just to make the shiny hunting side of it more efficient. Because hatching 2 eggs per reset is a lot slower than hatching 3 eggs per reset in terms of how many Pokemon can I check per hour. So in my head I was like, oh, I'll just breed another egg and that way I can hatch 3 Pokemon per reset instead of 2. Yeah, that's what I ended up searching in the Emveries that made me choose to have Flamethrower over D-Claw. I was looking at the damage rolls. I think that it's not just that consideration though, it's against some Pokemon. Say I'm against, like, I don't know, a Flygon, for example, and it doesn't have Rock Slide. Say it has, like, D-Claw, EQ, Crunch, whatever else it gets, I don't know. You could D-Claw turn 1. You'll be faster because you're running Timid Zard. So you can chunk them turn 1 with a D-Claw, and then you can sub into Pataya afterwards. So it would have been nice to have D-Claw, not necessarily for just hitting things that resist Fire Blast, but also for giving me that initial chunk before I get into my Pataya range, if that makes sense. I think there's some Pokemon where it would have been beneficial to D-Claw on turn 1, get knocked into Pataya turn 2, and then clean them up on turn 2. Whereas it's a bit riskier, and my now alternative is I'd have to do the Pataya first. I suppose you could also argue you could probably just do the same thing with Fire, like a Fire move, but I don't think that would kill. I was looking at, say, like Latios, and even a resisted... like a +1 Blaze resisted Fire Blast still does like 60 to 70%, I think. So it packs some serious punch. And that's what made me choose Timid over Modest, because initially I was looking at Modest, and then I was speaking to Riley, actually, and we were talking about his Marowak set, and he was debating Jolly initially over Adamant for Marowak. And then we were looking at the damage calcs of what do you kill at +1 with Marowak versus what lives EQ if you run Jolly versus Adamant, and a lot of the bulky waters could eat a +1 EQ if you're Jolly, but if he was Adamant, he would kill them. So in the end, he chose to do Adamant, and then that made me think, why have I not checked the flip side on my Charizard? So then I started looking at the speed tiers, and then I was like, it probably makes more sense to run Timid for Charizard. There's a lot of Pokemon where if you run Modest on Charizard, you get outran, and they're problem Pokemon for Charizard. So you really want to be behind your, like, you want to be boosted before you get to that point. So I ended up shifting off of Modest into Timid for the Charizard set. And I think it just makes more sense. You're asking around for opinions. What would you say is a good team for Espeon? Interesting. Good team for Espeon. I mean, what does Espeon lose to? You can't hit Dark types particularly hard. Not that there's very many of them, so you lose to T-Tar. Latios is kind of scary. I mean, you'll be faster, because none of them have speed investment, barring, like, one of the physical ones, I think. So you'll be faster than every Latios set, so you can Bite and maybe try and outspeed Flinch. And Bite does a surprising amount of damage as well, because I saw LRXC using that set in Factory. So you need something that beats T-Tar, really. That's the main thing you're lacking, and then maybe just something for consistency as well. Just in case of, like, Quick Claw on Espeon or something. You need 2 Pokemon in the back that you trust to win a 2v3. Just in case you get some Quick Claw bullshit going on. Yeah, let's get extreme. Shiny hunting. I mean, it is shiny hunting, but it's also not shiny hunting. Neither of the aims right now on either of these games is to get a shiny, but it could happen on either of them. Yeah, Walreign's horrible, Breeze. Walreign's, like, one of the worst Pokemon in the whole Frontier, in my opinion. Just so bulky, so hard to kill. He has HP Fire though, Breeze, so he can hit steals. To some extent, because he's got the, he picked his Espeon basically to have a HP Fire. So it can hit steals, it's just it probably won't Oko them and you might get folded back like a Steelix or something. I think the thing is, though, DOR, that you need to keep in mind is you're probably not killing some of those bug types. Like, yes, you'll kill the 4 times weak ones, but I'd imagine a Heracross will probably eat a HP Fire, would be my guess. Like, unboosted, that is. The problem with Walrein is that most of them have Oko moves, so you can't kill them and then you risk getting one shot. Yeah, exactly. And it's risky to swap as well, because a lot of the times people will lead with a fast kind of sweeping Pokemon. So for example, I'll be leading Salamence in my team, which it's maybe not as applicable to Salamence, because you will 100% be baiting Ice Beam with Salamence or Blizzard. But for a lot of Pokemon, you'll be on lead, and you won't want to stop in, because you know you can't kill them. But if you swap, you're just risking getting Oko'd on the swap, which makes them kind of awkward to fight. Which is actually one of the massive, massive upsides of having Salamence as a lead and being 4 times weak to Ice, is that a lot of Walrein sets and Lapras sets that have Oko moves, they'll actually, in the AI, they'll prioritize the Oko with an Ice move, which gives me a safe swap turn 1. So I'm only really risking Quick Claw 1 time, even if I swap, which is actually really convenient for the team. And it's why I'm going to be running Substitute on my Milotic most likely, because I don't have a great answer to Okomons on my team outside of that. Like, Horndrill and Shearcold are problems for my team if I don't run Substitute on Milotic. It makes me a lot weaker when I'm lacking that. So I'm going to have to lack the Ice coverage on Milotic, which isn't great, but I think overall it's probably worth it. You're thinking Brick Break Metagross? I think I mentioned this in the stream, but I'm not sure what the benefit of Brick Break is with Metagross, other than the accuracy boost. Because I know you were talking about hitting Snorlax, which I agree is a problem, but a Meteor Mash stab is doing the exact same damage to Metagross that Brick Break is. So you're just using a move slot for 10% accuracy, basically. Plus, you could get the boost with Meteor Mash if you're Meteor Mashing into Snorlax, which could actually save your life. So I'm not convinced Brick Break's 100% the move, personally, but who knows, maybe it helps versus something. Probably not, though, in my opinion. Steel types, it maybe helps hit, but then you're going to be doing EQ into those anyway. So, I don't know. I don't think I would run Brick Break on Metagross, personally. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, Joplin, to be honest. Which is just kind of the price you pay with setup Pokemon. It's kind of the bane of every setup Pokemon's existence, to be honest with you. I think there's a really nice synergy in the team between lead Salamence though, Joplin, which I know doesn't protect you against crits, but the Intimidate going into something helps with, like, taking less damage on your first hit before the crit. That's true, Duskane, but the more you rely on setup, the more weak you are into critical hits. I completely agree. And it's part of why Choice Band Metagross is such a good standalone Pokemon. It's because it doesn't need boosts to reach that kind of damage threshold. The team has some really solid swaps. There's some overlap in the utility of Snorlax and Milotic in my opinion. But I just really wanted to use Snorlax. I've been watching LRXC Joplin. And watching him struggle against that Pokemon in the Frontier or in the Factory, sorry, is fucking hilarious. Like, I had to use Snorlax after watching, like, the fear in his heart every time he sees Snorlax come up. It's definitely what inspired the choice to go Snorlax on the team. To be honest, the main thing Snorlax does for me is it helps me beat other Pokemon that I would be worried about that have rest coverage for Milotic otherwise. So I'm thinking something like a Regice. Like, Milotic really struggles against Regice because it has T-Bolt coverage while also having Ice Beam, while also having rest. So it's like, you can't Toxic it reliably because it can rest it off. And you can't really sit on it because it has T-Bolt. Whereas Snorlax will come in against that. And it's a Spadef Snorlax, so I'm running Careful Nature. So it will just eat and attack. And then I'll also just be able to set up in its face, basically. So it really helps me cover some of those, like, setup Pokemon and, like, stall Pokemon. It's a really nice counter to double teamers as well, in that I can just set myself up to +6. And then it doesn't matter if their evasion's all the way up, because I just need one hit to crush them at that point. So it patched up some of the, like, holes in my team. I'm kind of weak to electric Pokemon, to be honest with you. But I think with the amount of Spadef investment I'm putting into Snorlax, I'm not too worried about it. I was running some of the calcs of, like, how much damage am I going to take from these electric types, and if I run a decent amount of Spadef, Snorlax basically just eats them all anyway. Like, when you run the calcs, Snorlax is the only real reliable answer to, like, Latios, Latias as well, to some degree. Like, Spadef Snorlax is really not scared of a Latios or a Latias, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I agree, Veriz. It's why I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. Snorlax kind of beats most of the electrics. The only ones you're really scared of are the ones that boom like an Electrode or something. I spent a fair bit of time planning the team out. And I think my biggest mistake I did in this whole, like, Egg Team Quest process was I didn't think about the whole team first, which ended up wasting me quite a lot of time in the long run. Because my initial target wasn't even a 5 IV Pokemon when I started the hunt. My initial target was just, let me get a really strong Salamence, and I'm going to hunt that one egg. And then, as I got into the threshold of I got some 3 IV Salamences, and I kind of made my way to 4 IV as well. And then the question became for me was, well, where do I stop? Like, when is it strong enough, you know what I mean? And then that got me into thinking of, is it viable to do a 5 IV? So I just kind of took it all the way in the end. But if I'd have planned the whole team first, what I would have found is that there's overlap in egg groups. So if I'd have done Milotic or Feebas as my first egg, I could have circumvented some of the problems with setting up the Bagon egg. Because Bagon has a lot more egg steps. I think Bagon's like 10k egg steps versus Feebas is 5k. So I could have saved myself a fair bit of time if I'd have done the Feebas egg first and then used those parents in the Salamence breeding process. But I don't think I really could have done that anyway, because I would have been missing Dragon Dance then, which I think I wanted, to be honest. So it swings and roundabouts in the end, to be honest. Talking about Gen 3 makes you want to hurry up and play. So glad you're streaming today. So true, Riley. Saturday's low-key your favourite day of the week now. Nighthawk drops a video, Riley streams, and now me too. Yeah, no work's a big one, DOR. To be honest, I don't stream every Saturday, and to be honest, I probably should set up something more consistent like Riley does, where I say I'll stream, like, this day and this day so people know when to come, but I just kind of do it whenever I feel like it, to be honest. It just so happens that the weekend is the only time where I'm not, like, tired from work, so it ends up being the only day I really stream will be either kind of Saturday or Sunday, I think. Unless I'm, like, really feeling it. How dare you talk about wasting time? You were completely content with just a shiny whack of any kind and I ruined you. I mean, it's a tough burden to carry, man. It is what it is. But won't it be cool when you get it? Just think about that. So I was saying to Nighthawk with the level 50 ribbon, it's like, there's some things that you might not like it while you're doing it, but when you look back, are you going to regret having not done it? Like, you're never going to regret, say you get a 5 IV shiny whack, you're never going to regret that hunt afterwards, but if you end up with your 1 IV whack and you're like, damn, I wish I'd have done that 5 IV hunt, you know what I mean? You're never going to end up regretting the end product once you've got it. You're going to regret not doing it. So that's my stance on it, personally. Yeah, when are you live, Riley? Is it in an hour and a bit? An hour and 15 or so? Two IV quiet again. It sent me the exact same Ditto back. Yeah, I'm gonna end whenever you go live, Riley, so I'll send everyone your way as well. Because I want to watch along as well, so... Plus that gives me a chance to go and get food and stuff as well. You're looking forward to seeing how he gets through Frontier with a Pupitar? To be fair, you can get through the Frontier with one deadweight Pokemon, as long as you have 2 solid Pokemon in the back. Like, you need something really solid in the back, though. You can't be playing with, like, if you've got one Pokemon that's pretty much dead weight, you can't really play around too much with your other Pokemon. Like, Pupitar, it's strong. It still has good physical attack, but it's ground rock, I'm pretty sure, which it kind of puts it in the same boat as Rhydon, where it's cool, but it also kind of sucks, because you're just weak to everything. Which kind of sucks for Rhydon, and it's the reason why it's not very good, comparatively, because you're weak to the physical types as well, which means having a lot of physical bulk isn't even necessarily making you any bulkier than a neutral Pokemon. Because you're weak to fighting types, you're weak to ground. And it's the reason why the pure water physical bulk is so strong and Suicune is kind of so dominant, is because you're not weak to a single physical type. It kind of handicaps Rhydon and Pupitar and that kind of subcategory of Pokemon. And the amount of Pokemon that just get Earthquake as coverage in Gen 3 is unreal, so you're making yourself weak to pretty much everything, really, which is why the Pokemon kind of sucks. Which is sad, because I actually really like Rhydon. And I would love to use one, but it's just kind of ass, to be honest with you. Is this potentially 3 IV? I think this is 3 IV Adamant, but it's HP 3 IV Adamant. Oh, whoops. I'm pretty sure this is 3 IV. This Ditto we've got here. I'm like 99.9% sure that is a 3 IV Adamant Ditto. And my first actual 3 IV Ditto. 103.62.57. I'm pretty sure we have just found ourselves a 3 IV Ditto. And it's Adamant. Which is very, very nice, so I'm going to save the game quickly just in case. It's kind of the worst one to get as 3 IV other than like special attack, because HP has such terrible odds of being passed down, but I'd imagine that's still a decent bump to the overall odds of getting a 5 IV. So that's incredibly, incredibly nice for us. I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed, Riley. I think at 41, the stats, if you've hit the max roll, the stats are guaranteed 31 at level 41. So, like, if you look at the chart that just popped up over the Ditto, level 41 is 103 HP, 57 neutral stat, and 62 positive stat. And obviously, Spadef is 57 attack, 62, and HP is 103. So, I'm relatively certain that is 3 IV. In fact, I am certain that is 3 IV. Which is an incredibly nice thing to get. I wonder how much that drops my odds by. Of a 5 IV. I'm gonna go and run the calcs quickly. Oh, I'm missing a stat on what have I not put in? 21.5k eggs to get a 5 IV. Say I get the perfect 4 IV Beldum as in attack, defense, special defense, speed. With that Ditto at 3 IV, it gives me 21.5k odds to get a 5 IV, but without the HP, you're looking at 33.8k odds. Which is quite a big jump. I'm just wondering how much difference... To be honest, having the stat point in speed only drops it by like 4k eggs. Which I'd imagine the time investment of farming another Ditto is significantly higher compared to the odds of just me doing another 4,000 eggs. So I'm kind of tempted to just take that 3 IV Ditto and use that for breeding in Metagross, because that's already incredibly lucky to get a 3 IV. So that's a really nice thing to find, and means that I can basically probably start that setup at some point. Kind of sucks it wasn't something else, like I guess defense or special defense, or sorry, speed, because those have way better odds of passing down, but you know, when you're already doing something really, really unlikely, sometimes you just gotta take that you're not always gonna get the optimal stuff. And again, it's that weighing up of, am I going to get anything better without investing another significant length of time? Probably not. So, I very much think we're going to go and just double check that this is... If I put this one away. I've kind of got a Ditto box going on now of random 2 IV Dittos that I've found. So I can put the timid one away as well now. And that one's Spadef, so that one can go there. So let's go and just double check these IVs and make sure we're not losing the plot. You're looking for a Charmander too, but you have a shiny one with neutral nature and hidden power steel. Bad unlucky. I mean, it's not really unlucky, I would say, Ashura. That's just kind of the nature of the eggs. Like, I've got a few that I found while I was doing this. I mean, you're looking at a 50% on your Everstone, right? And then your hidden power is just pretty much just random chance. Maybe it's on... It might be on this file, actually. It might be in the wrong file right now. Let me check this one. I've got a few egg shinies now, and unless you're specifically like breeding with the intention of getting certain stats, it's very unlikely to just get something crazy good just from breeding. Even with like Everstone, so like, oh, these aren't the ones. Where are the Charmanders? God, I need to clean these files out at some point. I've got so much just like trash on these games. Here. So I found a couple of shiny Charmanders while I was doing this hunt, with Everstone. This one has like really, really bad IVs. Like, I don't think it has a single IV above 20 or above like 15 even. And then I also got this one, Serious. So like, again, like, you're looking at a coin flip even with Everstone, right? Like, sometimes you'll get timid, sometimes you'll get random neutral. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes. It is a lot of Charmander's V's. To be honest, I've been keeping the ones that are like high roll at level 5 because I like to look through them and just see how close I was. Do I plan on evolving those? I'm going to evolve one to Charmeleon Cabbage because I've completed the line already now with those two. So I will evolve one of them into Charmeleon, but the other one will stay as a Charmander. I'll probably evolve the neutral one into Charmeleon and keep the timid one Charmander, to be honest. Let's go and check this Ditto though. That's what I was doing before I got distracted. Let me put myself back in the right box as well. So, just for reference, Riley, this wasn't from the start, but I've been keeping the ones that were like max base stats at level 5. So all these Charmanders were all max stats at level 5. So some of them are level 12 where they were wonderfully outstanding and I bothered leveling them up. And then all the level 5 ones were where they were, whatever the one below wonderfully outstanding is, I can't remember what it's called. Begins with I. So like all of these were max base stats and I only started doing that part way through as well, so that's not even all of them. So yeah, there'll be a lot of getting faked out with the egg setup. That's just kind of how it goes, unfortunately. That is the legendary 5 IV Ments DOR indeed. So yeah, that one's fully kitted out. I just need to, whenever I'm going into the frontier, I'll just be replacing Fly with Rock Slide, I think. And then that's basically good to go. To be fair, when I first built the EVs on this thing though, I assumed that I was going to be running Choice Band, so I invested 252 in speed. Whereas now, I'm thinking I'm going to be keeping Dragon Dance just because I don't want to part with the egg move. So I might rework some of the speed investment on the basis that if I'm +1 with Dragon Dance, I probably won't need to be running 252 speed. So I might play around with the EVs on this one before I take it through the Battle Tower. Anyway. Let us fly and go and check our Ditto, shall we? I'm pretty sure this is 3 IV, but it never hurts to be 1,000,000% sure, does it? Our favourite old man. Special defense, yeah. So we're looking for attack and HP also. Attack, so now it's just HP to be confirmed. HP, so yeah, 3 IV Ditto obtained. Which will cut my odds down significantly for the 5 IV egg hunting for Metagross. Which, the odds are still terrible because that's HP, which is not ideal, but again, you know, it wasn't as many encounters as I thought it would be to get a 3 IV one, so we're not gonna cry about some good luck. So let's go and rename that bad boy before we forget what it is. You do the same with your Cubones. You've had 2 4 IV females with a wrong nature, so you're holding on to them for shame. Yeah. I always think as well, Riley, like, what if they'd be useful for chain breeding something else later? And I especially think that with, like, if they happen to have 30 in a stat instead of 31 for, like, hidden power stuff now that that's on my mind. So I've been kind of holding on to some of them on the basis that they might be useful for something later. Anything above 200 at level 50, Chef's Kiss, True Joplin. I mean, the only ones that are hitting above 200 at level 50, like, I think you have to hit 130 base stats, right? Because I'm pretty sure 125 doesn't reach... It doesn't reach 200 at that level. I think Jolteon just scrapes 200, right? Maybe like 202 at level 50 or something like that. Or 204 speed. And that's 130 flat. So that's HP. Attack. And Spadef. Well, that is 3,000 Dittos to hit a 3 IV one, so not bad. Well, I guess technically it's 5,000 or something Dittos because I did 2,000 for Timid first and didn't get a 3 IV one doing that. But that is a 3 IV Ditto. I don't know about that Joplin, because he's splitting the stat investment between the two. Like, probably if you're doing full investment, you could go over 200 for sure, but I don't know about, because isn't it like 176 or something like that, Riley? Maybe if you got perfect IVs as well. Oh, sorry, you're saying if it didn't have the worst IVs. Wait, does Oxide have bad IVs as well, Riley? That's unfortunate. I know you said the nature's terrible, but I didn't clock that it's bad for IVs as well. I am very happy with that Ditto, and that is that's 2 massive pains in the ass down, actually. Although I'm not now sure what to do with this game, considering that's all I had left. Let's go and release all the trash. I mean, wouldn't Metagross have the same as Salaman's Joplin? Won't it have 205 as well? Because they have the same base stat and attack, right? 135. Or am I just, like, absolutely making shit up now? You really like 95 plus base HP for having over 200. It hasn't happened that much, but it's nice to survive 4 seismic tosses. True. It's also nice for the substitute users, right? I guess at level 50. I think you need base 100 HP at level 100 though to live a seismic toss if you do max investment. I'm pretty sure with max at 100, like base 100, you get 404 HP, so your sub doesn't get broken. I guess the question is, what do we do now on this left game? Because we now have our Dittos for both special attack or I guess special attacker as in Starmie. So we've got our Starmie Ditto ready, and we've got our Metagross Ditto ready. So what do we do now? I suppose I should... I'm going to farm a couple more PP ups because I want to get my Aerial Ace maxed out. I need to farm 4 more PP ups, so let's finish grinding that out, I guess. It's probably not a bad thing to spend some time doing. Your Metagross has 30 attack IVs. You see, Joplin? I don't think I could live with that. Like, as weird as it sounds, I'd almost rather be missing a couple of points elsewhere and have the max attack. I had this when I was setting up my first Metagross ever, like before I started getting into like the crazy detail of IV breeding. And I remember I had a choice between a 31 IV attack Metagross and a slightly worse one overall, but it had max attack, and I picked it, I remember that. That would drive me crazy personally, but yeah, it's a massive time sink for no gain, so I don't blame you. Let's grab the pickup squad. Yo, what's good, Amaryllis? Let's store this in our Ditto box for now. I need... What do I need? I need my pickup Pokemon. Where are they at? I need to withdraw, actually, because that'll be faster. Somewhere in the mess. I really need to organise my boxes again, but I just haven't got around to it yet. Let's grab my Meowths. The squad. Yours is max HP, defense, and speed, and then obviously you've got 30 attack. What's your special defense IV, Joplin? Is it decent as well? What flute? Save again. $30 speed F as well. I mean, yeah. I mean, for that spread, I'm assuming that was RNG'd, right, Joplin? That spread's pretty crazy. I'm guessing there's not many spreads that are going to get you better IVs than that without waiting 10,000 years. Yeah, exactly, Riley. I mean, it makes sense, though, for us, because for me, I'm definitely doing it for the vanity. And Joplin is 100% doing it for, like, min-maxing the streak. I did not mean to use the only attack that doesn't do anything. I think I only care about those things because I want the perfect Pokemon, as I say. It's 100% for, like, a min-maxing the streaks type thing. Because I think once I've got this team, I'm going to go for some really high streaks with some of them. So I think it's double-edged sword for me. It's the, I want the perfect Pokemon, plus I want to push for like a really high streak once I've got them. Not just kind of getting the gold medal, I want to go kind of well past that, so... I think I will see some benefit from going for absolute perfection. In the long run. I've got a couple of Charmanders to hatch. Your goal for the 100 win streak in Emerald will absolutely be helped by having Whack with 5 IVs and Vape with 3 or 4. Yeah, like, it's easy to say, like, you can do the gold symbol, yes, with, like, suboptimal Pokemon. So you get, like, 2 perfect IVs and then some, like, I don't know, 20-ishes across the board elsewhere. Or, like, just, like, 20 in some of them and maybe some slightly worse in the others. Like, it's 1,000,000% doable. I think if you're just really pushing to, like, maximize your streak as far as you can, that's where you start seeing more benefit from those things. It's quite interesting though, because sometimes you can argue the flip side, Riley, where there's some scenarios where having slightly better like stats will make you live and you see some gain from that. But there's quite a few scenarios where sometimes if you're a little bit weaker, like, they would guaranteed click one move, rather than it being a roll for them to pick between that or another move, and there's, like, overlapping rolls and damage. So with some Pokemon, it's actually quite nice to be frail, because you can almost manipulate the AI a little bit more consistently if you have a weaker Pokemon. Which is an interesting thought, but I think overall you see net gains from just making your Pokemon the best they can be. Got a feeling I'm running out of eggs here again. This is unfortunate. Oh, I'm actually full. I'm just completely lost, apparently. When you were doing the double dome with Sneasel, you did consider having a frailer Sneasel so they wouldn't target the partner. Yeah, and there's a lot of times where being so weak, like, it's part of the reasoning of the substitute thing and where I want to be left at 25 rather than 1 HP, but to be honest, like, most Pokemon that see a kill on a Charizard at 1 HP are gonna see a kill on Charizard at 70 HP. Like, Charizard's not exactly the bulkiest Pokemon. But there are definitely scenarios where, and I've seen it a lot watching LRXC stream, where if you were just like a little bit more HP, they would have to click their super effective move, which you can swap into. Whereas like they'll have a coverage move that's like a roll where they can click either. So there's definitely some devil's advocate to play in the middle of that. In your head, you're already seeing a potential problem, which is Pokemon being incentivized to click Ice Beam into Ninjask, making Whack unsafe. I mean, a lot of the Pokemon that have Ice Beam, though, Riley, are going to have water moves anyway, which is why you've got Vape, right? Like, Vape's going to swap into an Ice Beam the same way it's going to swap into a water move. It's just going to eat both of those for no damage. He's not on about for Sub and Protect, Amaryllis, like, he's going to be running Substitute. He's on about, like, they'll break the sub, right? Like, they'll attack Ninjask on the turn. Like, Ninjask is never, in most scenarios, unless they try and set up, like, a double team or something, Ninjask is not going to be able to keep its substitute up. So you're going to be bad and passing into a hit. Which is just the problem with the, like, bad and pass teams in general that use Ninjask. It's the only thing that balances the Pokemon, to be honest with you. Someone tried to submit Streak for the tower open level and they used AI. There's a bot on Twitch that streams that I've been, like, whenever I just want to, like, have some noise in the background, I sometimes turn on. And it uses a bot to, like, play the Frontier. And I just like to see how the bot plays it versus what I would do sometimes. Obviously, submitting that as a streak is cringe, and, yeah, obviously that's not going to be allowed. Because, like, the bot can obviously see the set the other Pokemon has, whereas, like, as a human, you don't have that knowledge of the set already pre-existing. Like, it could be one of 4 sets most of the time, so, yeah. Wow, now I am running out of eggs. Whoopsie daisy. Not locked in. Your Salamence team had Aspir on one and Lum on another because you were so afraid of freeze. Saved you a lot of times. I don't think I'd ever really run an Aspir berry personally. Like, I understand the vision freeze, but there surely must be something that's more beneficial than that. Very unlikely. Some beams will live at 5%. Yeah, I'd imagine most ice beams are taking out Whack. Whack has like what? Is it like base 50 SpDef or something? It might even be lower than that. It's really not very SpDef bulky. It is surprisingly physically bulky, which was an underrated part of it that I never really clocked before, is like, it's like 80 HP base, I think, right? And then is it like 110 defense or something? So it is actually quite defensively bulky. The thing is though, Joplin, that you have to keep in mind is there's a lot of stuff that as a human, strategy-wise, you can abuse that a bot won't because they won't have programmed it to know those things. And a lot of the people that are programming the bots are just doing basic calcs of like, what's super effective, like when should you swap. Whereas like the more advanced strategies of kind of manipulating what the AI is going to pick based on like controlling how much damage you do to it and knowing that it's going to do like a move based on the damage rolls that you can swap into. Like it's not going to take full advantage of those strategies compared to a human. So I'm not really that surprised that the human streaks are better than 201. Or that it struggles to get past 200 wins, because knowing those extra things is what gives you that push past there, and like really being able to like know and abuse the AI is how you get those crazy high streaks. Especially when it comes to things like rest. Like I was watching the bot fighting like some Pokemon, and it was just spam clicking like strongest move into a Pokemon that just kept using rest, and it eventually ran out of PP and the bot lost because of that. Whereas if you're a human, you'd know to boost up your Pokemon first. I can't even remember what Pokemon it was, but it had like Dragon Dance or something. I think it was Tyranitar he had. And it's like, if you were a human, you would be DDing up, but like the AI doesn't recognize that. Yeah, for sure it can go into like how deep the bot's written, but how difficult is it going to be to account for every single nuance that you can find in the AI sheet and every nuance that you just know from like, that you've accumulated from knowledge of playing, of like what to do in XYZ scenario? Because some of it's not even like reading the like AI sheet properly, some of it's knowing what to do with that knowledge of what the AI will do. Thinking in particular for manipulating kind of rest heals and doing damage to kind of stop double team spamming and kind of manipulating those boundaries. Like, you would very much struggle to have... There's so many varied scenarios you get into across a Battle Tower run that you can't physically code all of those, like, best case scenarios into a bot of, like, what to do against XYZ. There's so much, like, niche, like, things that play into your decision making. Like, for example, like when you watch LRXC do his battles, like he's looking at what's in the back and factoring that into his calculations of what is he doing. Whereas a bot would never be able to factor all those choices in and figure out what the best play is. Like, it's just too many things you would have to code in as, like, if this happens, do this, you know what I mean? I know that, DOR, like, you can make the bot learn, but I just think there's so much volume and so much... It's not even necessarily about reading what the best case is sometimes, like, statistically. Like, sometimes the better play isn't even what's captured, like, in the sheet, I guess. Like, some of it's... I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you watch LRXC streams for a while, you'll kind of understand what I'm getting to. Where, like, I think there's just so much subtlety in, like, what makes you make XYZ choice that it would be very hard to feed all of that into an AI. And, like, yes, you could argue the flip side, where, like, a human might forget something when they're making their choices, so the AI will read something off the stat sheet and know what to do in a scenario, and the human, even if you know it, you might forget it in that scenario, whereas the bot won't, but I think there's a reason why the bots struggle to get past the win streaks that they're at. I mean, I agree, DOR. Like, the advancement of AI, like, when you look outside of just what we're on about here, the advancement of AI is kind of rapid. But that requires a lot of very smart people feeding into it. And the amount of people that have the knowledge that they need about the Battle Tower and that would be willing to invest that time into improving a bot, it's just not really going to be viable. Like, the wider AI sees that improvement because there's so many people and so much data it's feeding in. Whereas, like, individual people, like, just making a bot for the Pokemon Emerald Tower are never gonna get to that level. I get that DOR, but I don't know that it could... With the amount of people that are programming it, it's not... Your master's engineering thesis was about this? I mean, again, that... Like, are you saying, like, the bots... I don't even know how that would work, though. You're probably smarter than... Well, you are smarter than me about this, so I'm not going to argue with you. Obviously, you know better than me if you've done a master's in engineering on it, so I'll just take your word on that one, DOR. I guess the question is there somebody that's willing to put that investment into making a bot for the tower in the first place? It's probably that the people that are doing the people that are making those bots now are not going to be the type of people that are going to have that super advanced, like, knowledge, I guess. When we're talking, like, proper specialists and, like, the advancement of, like, AI in general versus AI for a bot for the Emerald Battle Tower. Yeah, I agree, Vreeze. Like, where it is currently, I'm not sure it would... With the amount of people that would be interested in feeding into it. Yeah, exactly, DOR. Like... I think the level that the bots will get to for the Emerald Tower will never be better than the level of a human. Like, I'm talking like a peak runner, like the best runner of the tower. Yeah, and when Riley's live, we will also be ending stream, so everyone should go and watch Riley when we're done. Am I out of PP? I've just realised I've burnt all 45 PP and I've not actually checked my pickup Pokemon a single time, so that was genuinely one of the smartest things I think I've ever done. So that was kind of a massive waste of time. We got one rare candy at least. Really, really smart that was. Yeah, agreed, Riley. Really sucks that there isn't one. Be a massive boon to have that. The amount of times I've swapped out my Mag Cargo to my Dragonite to go and fly to the frontier and then forgot to pick my Mag Cargo back up. I don't think I could count that in like the next week if you let me count up. At the same time, it's interesting to watch Wildcat's playstyle, which is almost like opposite to LRXC. To be honest, Joplin, like, I wouldn't say their playstyles are necessarily so far from each other. Like, if you watch LRXC, he comes up with, like, what he thinks is the best decision relatively quickly. It's just he spends an extraordinary amount of time after that confirming, whereas Wildcat comes to his decision in probably the same length of time of what the best idea is. But then he actually just commits to it immediately and doesn't do as much, like, second guessing and, like, searching of what's in the back. I'd say that's the difference. Like, I'd imagine LRXC in his turn has an idea of what the best move is, the same way Wildcat does very quickly. It's just he's much more extensive in his checks of that afterwards to confirm it, whereas Wildcat plays much more with his initial intuition, which, again, they're both very good players and they have a lot of information. A lot of the time, their initial choice is the right one. What does Moltres get, Vreeze, that makes it a breeding mon? Does it get, like, hidden ability Flame Body or something? Hidden ability. That would be unreal to have that, man. Unfortunately, I'm stuck. To be fair, there's worse Pokemon to be stuck with as a Hatcher. We do have the Goat Rock Smash Mag Cargo shiny that we're using for this. So, there's worse Pokemon to have as Flame Body Hatchers, but having Fly would definitely be convenient. Also, what am I actually doing on this game right now? I've, like, started muscle memory hatching eggs instead of going back and doing the pickup. I'm not doing very well on this left game right now. I've just burnt 45 PP and checked my pickup Pokemon once, and then I'm hatching eggs with no eggs. So, we're not doing too hot on the left game right now. If you can tell I'm not particularly locked in on that game, by any chance. It's been a very successful stream though. We got ourselves a 3 IV Ditto, so I don't really care what happens on the left game now, to be honest. It's just kind of bonus time. When you're talking and playing at the same time, you start doing weird things. Yeah, I'm just like reading the chat and just paying no attention whatsoever to what I'm doing. Which is definitely not the most efficient way of doing things, but it is a hell of a lot more entertaining than just sitting here staring at the Whismers. Yeah, Riley. Indeed. Indeed. I feel like it's hard to like fully lock in when you're streaming though, like on what you're actually doing. Your attention's just so divided between just reading chat and speaking versus like registering what you're actually doing. I'm gonna have to do a lot more pickup grinding though, because I want to PP max like all the moves on all of these like 5 IV eggs, obviously. So I'm gonna have to do a fair bit of grinding to get all my PP ups. I could just like get the ones that are in game in the other ones as well, because there's quite a few PP ups and like there's even a PP max I think in the Magma Hideout, and I've obviously got a couple of copies of Emerald and like Fire Red and Leaf Green, so I could just go and collect all of them from those games, but I would like to have a chance of getting a shiny while I'm doing it as well. Pickup is annoying in Emerald, hate what they did to it. You see, I already invested Amaryllis a ridiculous length of time with 5 EXP shares. I must have been running the Battle Frontier or the Elite 4, like the leveled up Elite 4 in Fire Red Leaf Green. I had my Mewtwo on my other file with like all the coverage moves. I think I had 4 of these were EXP shared, and I was leveling them all up at the same time. And it must have still taken about a week to get these all to level 91. So, it's incredibly annoying, but I did it because I wanted to be able to do it in Emerald as well. It's nice to be able to get Earthquake TMs as well, because that's always hot in demand. It's fine as long as you're only talking about which moves you're considering making. Yeah, exactly, Vreeze. I don't know how LRXC, like, actually... Well, I do, because he spends 3 hours making his decisions, but... He speaks about, like, every single random thing people type in chat. I don't know how his brain can, like, keep track of everything going on. Are you going to end up on the podcast, Amaryllis, at some point? I know you were speaking about sending an email and seeing if you could. I'd imagine you would, right? I feel like Nighthawk knows you as well. What team are you, In fact, actually, maybe don't spoil it. Maybe keep the team a secret. I don't want to spoil my content when I'm driving to work at some point. I try and save all the podcasts until, like, I'm actually commuting, because they're just the perfect thing to just listen to. I had to save the video of getting the 3 IV Ditto before I accidentally delete it as well. I have a habit of cleaning out my recordings folder every day, and I would hate for that one to be lost to the void of time. I think in a second I'm probably gonna call it a stream. What I'm gonna do before I end, because I want to get some food before Riley goes live, but let me just grab the link, because he will be live soon. So, in 30 minutes from now, he will be live, so anybody that isn't already knowing about Riley should go and watch his stream when he is live. That is the link to it. Obviously, it's just the scheduled broadcast at the minute. But I'm going to call it a stream there, and I'm going to go and grab some food. So, thanks everyone for watching and stopping by. It's been a blast, gents. And I will see you in Riley's stream. No doubt. So, I'll catch you guys later. Yep, see you later, everyone.